approaching the podium now. Oh, he just walked away. So we'll keep it going. Make sure you guys have something to listen to. All right, Kelly's here. We're going to take a listen now.
Members of the media here today, thank you for your time. Today, the hockey club has two announcements to make. The first of those, Mark Stone will be going on LTIR effective today. Just to give you some background, Mark, going back to last year's playoffs, had back issues. Going through training camp, he was compromised and limited through training camp and the preseason. We began the season, he played the opening game against Seattle. He didn't get through the second game against Los Angeles. We had to shut him down and rehab him. We thought that we had given it appropriate time for him to return. He missed a month. He came back and played till the middle of December. He has only played back-to-back games one time this year. That was in New York, where he played on a Thursday night against the Devils, a Friday night against the Rangers, then had to miss the Sunday game against the Islanders. We put him back in on Tuesday against Tampa Bay. He had to leave that game in the second period. I believe he missed the next 4 or 5. So at that time, we talked with our medical staff, myself, Peter, about what the best plan was in terms of how to handle this and how to manage this. January, if you'll remember, started with a real home-based schedule. We felt that that gave us a good opportunity to work through that stretch of our schedule. We made the decision to cut his ice back a little bit. We had made the decision at that time that he would not play the back-to-back games, which in the month of January were at Washington, at Carolina. Subsequently, he got COVID, so wasn't available until the Carolina game. So that kind of took care of itself. And then going into Alberta, we decided we were going to play him both games. We were going to play him at Edmonton, at Calgary, and just try to really see where we were at with his health. And he couldn't play the second game. He knew after the Edmonton game that it was going to be a big ask. He got treatment on the morning of the Calgary game for an extended period of time before the training staff pulled him right around lunchtime on the Wednesday versus Calgary. So when we look at it objectively, our number one priority is Mark Stone's health. And it clearly isn't in a place that it needs to be for him to be successful. It's not in a place where it needs to be for our team. He's our captain. The man, as you know, wears his heart on his sleeve every time he pulls on our uniform. He'll be missed, but I do genuinely believe we are doing the right thing with him. It's difficult to define exactly what the issue is. I think that's been really frustrating for Mark. And yet that's the types of things that we've got to try to get to the bottom of, and it's going to take time. How much time is going to be the first question. We don't know that. LTI by definition means 10 games, 24 days. So that's a given. Past that, it's impossible for us to predict. It'll take the time it takes. The second piece of news here today, obviously I'll take questions regarding Mark here when I'm done my opening statement. The second piece of news here today, Jack Eichel will make his Vegas Golden Knights debut on Wednesday against Colorado. It's been just over 3 months that he had his surgery, I believe November 12th. It's 13 and a half weeks that he'll have rehab and recovered. I give Jack, his medical team, our medical team, a great deal of credit. This is the first time the surgery had been done on an NHL player. When we made the trade, we didn't really know what that timeline would look like. We're excited. There's 34 games in the regular season that still remain. This gives Jack a great opportunity to integrate with our hockey team. It gives obviously our team access to a great player. when you make a trade, you're usually anxious for that next game that you play to see what that new player looks like in your lineup. In this case, it's been a long wait, but well worth it. We're excited to bring Jack back on Wednesday night. So with that, I'll open it up to questions.
Just as a reminder, we will pass the mic. Please state your name and affiliation. It's not how it's Mark taking this live. We'll open it up questions.
Ben Goats, Las Vegas Regional. Kelly, you said you are not really, necessarily sure about the issue that's going on with Mark Stone's back. So are you guys hoping to explore like different types of treatment options, or how are you kind of trying to pinpoint what exactly, how you go about
well, good question. I meant to refer to it in my opening statements. He has seen numerous specialists all over North America. He's had, I believe, 10 or 12 set of diagnostic exams performed. Backs are tricky. And I wouldn't be able to relay it to you how it's been relayed to me, other than to say they're still working through those things to find out exactly what it is. It's not a single issue. There's some challenges there that overlap, and he's gonna hopefully get through all of this. And again, I think he's seen 6 specialists across North America. So this is a situation that we've worked real hard at to get answers.
So Dave, Jesse, Ken.
David Shane, Las Vegas Review Journal. Just to follow up on that, when he was originally heard in October, not originally, but when he was heard in October, there was, a determination that surgery was not needed at that time. Is he back to kind of square one in terms of determining whether surgery is back on the table at this point, or where is he at in terms of, comparing where he was, say, at that point to now?
We would be hopeful that that would not be required at this point either, David. I think, you have that injury in game 2. The other injuries that we had even that night with Max Pacioretty breaking his foot. When you do things in season, you try to do them as quickly as you can. A month is a lot of time to have your captain out of the lineup. We felt that we could successfully rehab him in that period of time, and we weren't able to. But I don't think it's a case where further damage has been done, or we're regretting that we played him till when we played him, or anything like that. I think that it's just a time where realistically he felt he had no chance of getting through March. When you look ahead, he just really felt that was going to be incredibly challenging. When I look at it from a general manager perspective, the month of May is going to be harder than the month of March. So you just, again, everyone in this room knows what he means to our hockey team, and everyone in our organization has tremendous respect for the player. So we want to do the right thing. So that's the genesis of the decision.
There, of course, we will do that on the other side of this break. But first, be the first to experience a whole new era of Big West basketball. Gather your friends and pack the Dollar Loan Center in Henderson, Nevada for the 2022 Hercules Tires Big West Basketball Championships presented by the Hawaiian Islands. 20 men's and women's teams take the court March 8th through 12th, fighting to take the Big West to the next level. Order now at thedollarloancenter.com/Big West tickets, or call 702-645-4259. A lot to talk about when we come back. The opening of the Dollar Loan Center in Henderson is less than a month away, and the arena has a brand new website. Visit thedollarloancenter.com for upcoming events, seating charts, arena policies, and much more, including your chance to purchase tickets for the first events in the building. Be there as history is made at the Big West Basketball Championships, the first Vegas Nighthawks game, and the first Henderson Silver Knights game in their new home, all coming up in the next few weeks. Visit thedollarloancenter.com to learn more. And welcome back to Nighttime at Noon here on Fox Sports Las Vegas, also across Vegas Golden Knights digital channels. A crazy news-packed morning here at City National Arena. I'm Ashali Vise with Shane Hnidy. For anyone just tuning in, we just listened to Kelly McCrimmon have good news and bad news. Mark Stone to the LTIR. Jack Eichel will be making his Golden Knights debut Wednesday against the Colorado Avalanche. Shane, does it get any more fitting for this season to finally get Jack Eichel in the lineup, but to lose your captain?
Yeah, it's tough in the sense that the bad news, I'll start with that so then we can get to the good news. The bad news is, we know how important Mark Stone, the captain of the Golden Knights, is to this team, both on and off the ice, his passion, and it's been a tough year for him. You knew something was lingering. There's been times he just hasn't looked right. And, Kelly McCrimmon, the general manager, is saying he's had back issues. He's seen over 6 specialists, still trying to, figure out what's there. Hopefully surgery isn't needed and they can move forth some time off. It'll allow him, so he's on LTIR, so he'll have time there. The good news is, because there's a lot of that, is Jack Eichel's back. The long-awaited debut for number 9, special player, a special talent. And, I don't think, you got to kind of bring the expectation. It's good to get him back. I don't think he's going to get right to form. Maybe he will. Good players, exceptional players have that ability, but he'll be back in the lineup. So that's great news to finally see Jack Eichel come back. And the other good news is to get him in, they don't have to move anybody. So Mark Stone goes on LTIR. I think they had already around 5.5, just above, in LTIR relief previously. So Stone has 9.5. That goes on as well. Eichel comes in. He obviously makes $10 million. They can also bring at some point number 23. Let's not forget about Alec Martinez. That allows him to come back. And I think, according to Cap Friendly, they'd have to make one minor movement to reassign somebody down around that 700,000 mark to get everybody in. So that's another positive on, you never want to see a guy hurt in Mark Stone, but him going on LTIR and the relief they already had from it allows them to activate Eichel into the lineup, and at some point there's still room to activate Martinez with another small move made in there. So, the rumors of who's going to get traded and that, we don't need to worry about that. This is how things have played out, and it'll be great to see Eichel back, as we said, taking line rushes today between Pacioretty and Dodonov.
It takes me back to November when I think people thought Kelly McCrimmon was just, being overly positive when he said, we might not have to do anything. We have to wait to see what happens. And sure enough, the day comes, Mark Stone's to LTIR. Mark Stone well. What do you like? It's never easy. Is it easier for him knowing that the team is getting a big addition? Take me into a player's perspective. It's always frustrating to be dealing with something like that.
Yeah, first and foremost, he wants to play. But I think there's, from the sounds of it, the way Kelly McCrimmon was describing it, I'm sure there's some frustration. There's frustration that he can't play, the frustration of not being able to pinpoint, what is exactly wrong. So maybe some time off, and maybe it's a little easier for him knowing, he wants to be out there. He wants to lead this team. He wants to help this team, but him being out and Jack Eichel coming in might make it a little easier for him to handle. That said, he wants to get back to health, and that's where he can put his focus now. Maybe it's a little easier to do knowing a player like Eichel is coming into the lineup in his absence. So, he needs to focus, and I think the team, the organization, everybody right now, they want Mark Stone to worry about getting healthy, getting back whenever he can. But when he does come back, that he's at 100% health, that he's ready to go, return to the type of player he is, which is a dominant winger in the league. And in the meantime, Jack Eichel's going to come in.
And now that we're just about 48 hours away from Eichel making his Vegas Golden Knights debut, you talked about how it might take him some time to get to form. What do you believe are reasonable expectations for his first game? Now, you have, guys that come in and score hat tricks in their returns to play and things like that. But what is a realistic expectation for a guy like Jack Eichel?
well, maybe this is just the old player in me. I just want to see him go out and get through the game healthy. Timing is going to be the biggest thing to adjust to, but I think these guys, they have an ability. That's what makes them special. I'll say I think he'll score in his first game. I'm not saying that's my expectation, but
calling
I think it'll
it
happen.
now. We are not allowed to bet on hockey, obviously, nor would we. But this guy is giving you some advice. Anyone who plays that game, this guy's giving you some advice. He thinks a goal and an assist, a 2-point night in Jack Eichel's debut.
Yeah, well, Pacioretty's due. So I think Pacioretty will score and he'll get an assist there if you want me to get technical. I'm very excited to watch this, to see how he plays. He is going to be absolutely amped up. Everything he has gone through in this process from Buffalo, the drama there, of finally he's able to get the trade, to get the surgery he wants, and then he's able to come back. It happened November 12th. He's been able to come back. He's gone through all these steps of getting surgery, getting back on ice, getting, as best you can in that situation to get your cardio, your wind back. Now he's gone through the steps of contact, battling, all those drills. So really the next step for him is to get that first game under his belt, and that's going to happen.
Darren Millard asked me a question this morning. If it's Jack Eichel and Max Pacioretty on a 2-on-1, who shoots?
Ooh, that's a really good question. See, that's type of Darren Millard's question. I don't know. I don't think there's a wrong answer to it. I think Pacioretty's more of the shooter. They both can shoot. Eichel can distribute the puck so well. That's what he can do both. They both can. They're both elite players that can score goals. So there's no wrong answer.
If we see it tomorrow, though, come on, Max. Let Eichel score in this debut, right? All this build up. Let him have it.
But Max needs to score too. It's been 9 games. He's in a 9-game drought, 9 or 10. So,
like you said, though, that means he's due. That's the
they're
positive.
Both due. They're both due.
That's the positive spin on that. Colorado, of all teams for him to make his debut against, he comes in against a hot Colorado Avalanche team. Points in 19 straight. That's unbelievable. I read it. Then I went back and looked at their schedule, and I thought, there's no way. They haven't not had a point in a game since December.
Yeah. They had that little bump in the road earlier in the year, and 34-8-4 this season, 72 points. The good thing is they're not at home because they're playing them here, because at home, Colorado 21-2-2. They've only lost 2 in regulation at home. Just outstanding numbers. It's a deep, really offensive charged team. There's a rivalry that's grown between these two teams because of playoffs and what the Golden Knights were able to do getting by them. So, Colorado's coming in to they always want to stick it to the Golden Knights as much as they can. These two consider themselves, top here in the West that could meet at some point. So, I think it's a great game for Eichel to come back to play the best. He's a guy that wants to be the best. We talked about how motivated he was when he first got traded here. And that's a powerful thing for a player like that, to be motivated. And as I said, he's going to be so excited. There's going to be some anxious, nervous energy there to begin, but it's been a long time since he's played a game. But that all said, I think there's going to be a lot of emotion that might help carry him through.
Really, the team as a whole, they've had a week off by the time they play that game, which is a lot of time off. There's, Pete DeBoer talks about teams coming in and out of the break. That's what's going to set teams apart, right? But you're getting up for the top team in the league, the most hot team in the league, possibly in the Colorado Avalanche, and you're getting a guy like Jack Eichel back. T-Mobile Arena is going to be on fire on a Wednesday night. That's insane.
It's going to be great. It's going to be a great atmosphere. It's going to be a great night. You hope the Golden Knights. I think that they're certainly going to be disappointed that their captain has put it out for a period of time here. But the amount of excitement they'll have for a player that they acquired a while ago at the beginning, earlier in the year, is finally making his debut. They'll be excited for him. I think they're excited because of the player he is to go out and perform. I think there's some excitement with those new line combinations to see how that plays out. And there's excitement when you go out. You're a competitor by nature. You want to compete against the best. Well, that's what they're going to do.
We talked about the lines being changed up. We're waiting for, hopefully, Pete DeBoer to come up to the podium. It actually looks like Kelly McCrimmon is still talking. So the media, reasonably so, has a lot of questions. Hopefully when we come back, Pete will be joining us. But for now, we're going to go ahead and take a break. So we'll see you in a couple minutes. Hey, Golden Knights fans, need more hockey? Make sure to check out the newest team in town, the Henderson Silver Knights of the American Hockey League. Single game, group, and mini suite tickets for home games during the 2021-22 season are on sale now. Contact the Henderson Silver Knights ticketing team at 702-645-4259 or visit HendersonSilverKnights.com to learn more. Welcome back to Nighttime at Noon on Fox Sports Las Vegas and on the Vegas Golden Knights digital channels. Once again, I'm Ashali Vise with Hnidy. Want to just keep putting the news out there for people just tuning in. Mark Stone to the LTIR. Jack Eichel making his Golden Knights debut on Wednesday, and Kelly McCrimmon also just let the media know that Robin Lehner is out with an upper body injury and his status for Wednesday is uncertain. Your reaction to that?
Well, we didn't see him on practice today,
Yep.
which, sometimes it happens. He just takes a day, but usually not after they've already had a bunch of days off. Yeah, unfortunate, but you know what? It's Laurent Brossoit. He was pretty good in his last game.
Yes, that's what we were going to talk about. Vegas, the last that we saw of them was last, Tuesday and Wednesday? I don't remember the days of the week. It was the Edmonton-Calgary back-to-back. Let's start with the Edmonton game, the first shutout as a Vegas Golden Knight for Laurent Brossoit. And he wasn't just a shutout by chance. That was a solid performance by him.
It was a really good road game for the Golden Knights overall. I thought Brossoit was excellent. I think he made some key saves early. The Golden Knights took a little while to get through the game, not too long, but once they did, and there was a lot of shots, but the shot slot chances were really, really low. The high danger chances, the Golden Knights didn't give many. And when they did, Brossoit made the saves. That's what you need. And I think it's a good confidence boost for him when you're in a new team to get that first shutout, kind of out of the way. And it builds confidence for goaltender, just like goals will for a forward or, any type of player. So I think it's important for him to play the way he did. It was great the way the Golden Knights played. I thought it was a really good road game against, two of the best players in the world in McDavid and Draisaitl. They limited them. They almost didn't have a shot till late in the third combined. Really not much going on at all for them offensively. So real good game for the Golden Knights. I thought it was exactly how they wanted to play. And, then the next night happened.
What do you, the Alberta back-to-backs that so many teams go through? Is that what to expect? Do you expect that in those situations? Do you think that's a common thing to have totally different nights on back-to-backs against two solid teams? Edmonton, of course, has had their struggles. But pause, everybody. We have Jack Eichel at the podium. You're going to want to listen to this.
Yeah, Mark, Golden Knights. How do you feel today? When did you find out?
I always kind of had the date circled for a while, so just kind of had to go through all the protocols, and obviously it's a process, so you want everything to go pretty smoothly, and I just feel like I'm at that point where I'm ready to play, and you can practice as much as you want. Obviously the game's different, and just want to get back in there and start getting my confidence back playing in games.
Ben Goats, Las Vegas Review-Journal. It's been about 11 months since you played in an NHL game.
Yep.
What's it going to feel like out there, and after waiting so long for this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there'll be a lot of emotions Wednesday. I've already started feeling them. It's like you said, it's been a long time. It's probably been the biggest layoff I've ever had since I started playing hockey. So, I'm trying to be realistic with myself, with my expectations. I understand it's been 11 months. I didn't have any preseason games, and I happen to be jumping in there against the best team in the league right now. So, but at the end of the day, it's hockey, and been doing it since I was a kid. So I just try and play my game, get as comfortable as I can, as quickly as possible, and I think we'll be all right.
Dave, Jesse,
Dave Shane, Las Vegas Review-Journal. Just in terms of the contact stuff, just how have you kind of gone about, maybe ramping that up, and what do you expect in terms of Wednesday, just when you take that first good bump?
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to take and hit a couple times for me to for that hump to be done. But it's like any injury. I think you come back and you're like, I've had ankle sprains before. You come back, you're kind of a little bit like, oh, what's going to happen? And then you fall in it awkwardly, or someone bumps you a little bit weird, and it bothers you for a minute, but then you're okay, and you're like, oh, okay. So there's sort of a mental hump to it, and I'm sure there's going to be that moment where I get over it, and then it's going to be but it's tough to mimic that in practice because everything's a lot more controlled. So might as well just get in the game and start going.
Jesse,
Hey, Jack, I was going to kind of ask you something similar, but I'll go with you mentioned games are different than practice, but you've been skating with Max Pacioretty. I guess how exciting is it to get to play with a player of his caliber, and how do you think you two can play together?
Yeah, it's really exciting. I think it's exciting to be able to play with a team of this caliber. It's been really cool to kind of sit back and be around the guys, but also I get the opportunity to watch them and you know, see it up close. It's great. I think we have a great group of players and guys here. And you know, you touched on Patch. He's obviously a you know, superior goal scorer and somebody who can really shoot the puck. So you know, I like to try and consider myself more of a setup guy. So hopefully I can find him and he can use his shot. But you know, there's a lot of really good players in that locker room, and I just look forward to being on the ice with all of them.
Ken Bulkey, Vegas. When William Karlsson signed his contract, Bill Foley said he owes him 2 cups during the time of the contract. Kind of said something similar about Stone and Pietrangelo. Yeah. Did he tell you anything of that sort?
You know, nothing of that. I think he's just he's made it clear that obviously the expectation here in Vegas and with this organization is to win the Stanley Cup. So I think that should be every team's expectation, and it's great that the organization you know, feels that way, and everything that we do throughout the season is geared towards winning.
Ron Futrell from 8 News Now. I'm sure you've talked to Mark Stone about this. What has been your discussion with him on you jumping into the lineup sort of in his place?
Yeah, talked to Stoney a lot, but yeah, he's been banged up in and out for the season, and I think it's a good opportunity for him to try and get healthy, and good opportunity for me to try and get in here and get comfortable with the group, try and build some chemistry, and find my game.
We'll go Ben and Danny. Ben Goes, Las Vegas Review-Journal. You're the first, you know, NHL player that's undergone this surgery. So I guess kind of in the late stages of the rehab process, is there anything, you know, that surprised you or jumped out to you?
Not necessarily. I think more than anything, it's just that mental hump that you need to get over, right? So I think that happens with any injury, whether it's a knee or a shoulder, or in my case, you know, cervical disc replacement. But I'm confident. I knew I'd made the right decision. I feel great, so I'm ready to rock.
Couple more. We'll go Danny at the top.
Danny Webster, Las Vegas Sun. Jack, you kind of mentioned the mental hump throughout this whole thing, but when you take the ice on Wednesday, probably not necessarily something to prove, but do you feel like you have something to prove to yourself after everything that's gone on?
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, I think that there's a lot to prove. I think there's lots to prove, you know, to myself, I think to the rest of the league, to the organization. I think you're always trying to prove something. You know, what that is. I mean, I think I just, you know, you consider yourself, you know, one of the better players in our league, and you just kind of want to get back to that. I feel like, you know, prior to the injury and last season, I was starting to establish myself where I wanted to be, and you know, obviously kind of been derailed a little bit with injuries, but just want to get back to where my game was and hopefully take it to the next level. And you know, that's more than anything. But I'm also trying to taper my expectations, right? I understand I haven't played in 11 months, and these guys have, I don't know how many games we're in right now, 50 games into the season. So it's, you know, a lot of guys are in mid-season form, and you know, I'm coming off of rehab and I haven't played in 11 months. And so, but, you know, with that being said, I got to make an impact, and, you know, I hope to do that right away.
Last question, go to Tom.
Tom Gallitti, NHL.com. Kelly was in here talking about how you have 30-something regular season games left here, kind of ramp up. Is that the way you're looking at it? Like, hopefully you're getting the playoffs, but to ramp up and be ready for that playoffs, if that's
that's it, right? So you're not going to feel your best right away. You know, sort of what I was saying. I understand that. I'm realistic here. I'm not going to feel like you do 20 games into a season or 15 games into a season when you're sort of getting in your groove and it's like second nature and everything's rolling and you're playing well, you're feeling good. You know, I understand it's not going to be the case, you know, Wednesday night, and I'm going to have to build towards that again. But you know, the good thing, like you said, is we do have a lot of games left in the season, and you know, you want to peak at the right time and be playing your best hockey at the right time, I guess. So we just take the opportunity and, you know, try and get as comfortable and as familiar with the group as possible as soon as I can, and just go from there.
Thanks, Jack. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a nice afternoon.
All right, that last question brings up a good point. He's basically going to be in mid. A lot of players are tired by the time they get to playoffs, right? You're battling through stuff. Is he going to be in mid-season form come playoffs? Because mid-season form, Jack Eichel, playoff time, it's about as good as you can get, right?
And a player who's never experienced playoffs.
Yes, you
He's
talk about
never
that
been in
nervous,
playoffs,
anxious
so,
energy.
You know, he's played 6 seasons. He has not yet been in the playoffs. So that's the goal of every player. And a guy like him, stuff that drives those elite athletes is to get to that point. He's going to get himself ready. And he's right. He's got to, kind of temper his expectations for right now.
Well, let's listen to a couple minutes of Pete DeBoer after this big news day at practice.
You've talked before about you've tried not to think too far ahead with Jack Eichel. Now what's it actually going to be like to write his name on the lineup card on Wednesday?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think he's excited, our group's excited, unfortunately, we still don't have our whole group together with Mark going out, but I think this has been a long time coming for him personally. For us, not as long, because obviously just from the trade dead or day to now, but we're excited, and I think when you see him in practice over the last 3 weeks, you see what he potentially can add to our group. That's exciting.
Dave Shane, Las Vegas Regional. We saw you obviously juggle the lines with Jack now being available. Can you just maybe take us through that process? Obviously, like ostensibly your third line has your leading scorer and your leading goal scorer on it. So clearly it was about spreading out the scoring depth a little bit. Yes.
I think we're going to look at everything. I think what we don't want to do is we don't want to get to the playoffs or late in the season and then start experimenting or say, I wonder what that looks like. I think we're going to look at some different combinations and some different things and see. I think what Jack allows us to do is, really gives us some center depth there, can potentially create some mismatches. Is Nick Waugh a better center than a winger? Probably is, but he also should be a really good winger for somebody. So, I mean, those are all things we're kind of throwing in the blender here right now, and we'll see. I don't know what'll stick and what won't, but we're going to try some things. Hey, Jesse.
If he obviously talking a lot about Jesse Granger, the Athletic, talking a lot about Jack, but obviously big news with Mark Stone being out on LTIR. How hard has it been for you to kind of him going in and out and him fighting through this and him finally trying to maybe take some time off and get it? I guess how tough has this season been for him and how much you guys going to miss him?
Well, it's been tough. I think Kelly addressed all those questions with him. I think as far as our group goes, having him around in the lineup, even at less than 100% is always nice just because of the leadership he brings. And we're going to miss that piece and other guys are going to have to step up there for sure.
Ken Bulkey, Vegas. Your hit numbers are down quite a bit from this year compared to the last year or in the past. I'm wondering if that's like something you're trying to do, and then how you think it's impacting the game, and maybe if you need it to go up or.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think when you trade Ryan Reeves, I think, there's an automatic, you're giving up an element in order to try and get another element. And I think that's a piece of it. I still think we can be a little more physical than we have been. And, I think when you get into the meat of the season like this, a lot of games and a lot of days, it's hard to drive that physical train every day unless you're wired like Revo is. I think Will does it consistently. I think Colasar tries to do it consistently for us. I think we all know, when it gets to the playoffs and you've got teams built like Calgary and built like Minnesota, that you have to be prepared to play that type of game.
Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Pete. Tom Goldie, NHL.com. Just way with Jack hasn't played in a game in 11 months. How do you manage that as you get into? You look what he was in the power play first line. How do you kind of manage that as you go along here?
Yeah, well, I was talking to him this morning about it at breakfast. Just I don't want him to overthink systems or where he's got to be. Just get out and move your feet and skate. And but he's missed a lot of hockey and a lot of time. And I think we're going to get he's going to play with a lot of adrenaline here the first game. I'm not as worried about that as I am, going forward. I think realistically though, we've got to be prepared that, this could take some time. He's missed a lot of hockey and he's jumping into an NHL season mid-season. And so he's a great player and we know he's going to be a great player for us, but I think we've got to temper our expectations here early.
Hey, there was Golden Knights head coach Pete DeBoer after this action-packed Monday to start the week. We will react on the other side of this break. We'll see you in about 3 minutes. Be one of the first to join the Vegas Nighthawks family. Secure your seat selection priority today by placing a refundable $20 deposit at nighthawksfootball.com. Full season membership will start at just $10 per ticket per game at the Dollar Loan Center located in Henderson. And welcome back to a Jack Eichel themed nighttime at noon here from City National Arena. Ashali, Vise here with Shane Hnidy. And Shane, every time we kind of out of break, I just want to give people the reminder of what all has been happening in case people are just now tuning in. Let me know if I leave anything out here. Mark Stone to the LTIR. Jack Eichel making his Golden Knights debut on Wednesday. practice today. He skated with Max Pacioretty and Evgeny Dodonov. Robin Lehner, upper body injury. I don't want to say questionable. Uncertain was the term used for Wednesday, so that's where we're at. I know a lot of people, especially on the interwebs, will have opinions about where Jack Eichel was placed, just because they always do. So it was Pacioretty and Dodonov today, but Pete DeBoer kind of referencing in his press conference just a few minutes ago, this is going to be a mix. We're probably going to see a lot of different things as we try things out. So I would expect no one to be married to these combinations that we're seeing today.
No, and that's great for the coaching staff. And as he, good point was he doesn't want to, start moving things around and looking at the end of the year. Now's the time to do it, to kind of look at what they have, see what fits, and you're allowed to move these puzzle pieces around. It's, as I mentioned, it's a great thing to have as a coaching staff, as an organization, these pieces. And just to mention the other lines, Janmark was playing with Carlson and Riley Smith. And we had Jonathan Marchessault with Chandler Stevenson in the middle and Nick Waugh. And then you had Will Carrier, Howden, and Nolan Patrick together. Amadio and Colasar and Adam Brooks was up were kind of the other line. So, you particularly look at those top. You said, Jonathan Marchessault with Stevenson and Waugh. Marchessault's leading you in goals. Carlson, Janmark, Smith, ton of speed. And, of course, Dodonov, a guy that, usually scores 25 goals. At off year last year in Ottawa, get him going. Pacioretty's a 30-goal scorer. Jack Eichel, and get him back to his 30-goal form. He had 36 goals just a few years ago, so pretty dangerous and exciting. And, it was a good day for us, Ashley, because we come in the morning, we're going to do the show, and got all these topics. The sheet here
Pages
that we had
of them.
that we didn't need because
crumple it, throw it over the shoulder.
Yeah, as soon as you saw Jack Eichel step on the ice between Pacioretty and Dodonov in a regular jersey, and then the announcement we heard from Kelly McCrimmon just made our day easy. But great big news here. Some unfortunate news with Mark Stone, but exciting with Eichel.
We did try to stray from this topic one time. It ended abruptly because everyone would much rather hear Jack Eichel talking than us, and he walked up to the podium. But we were talking about that back-to-back set last week that the Golden Knights played in Edmonton and in Calgary. Edmonton went great. Calgary, the team who knows how much they did or didn't even talk about it. There's that fine line of diving into it versus moving on. But what we can say is the Calgary Flames just got better, acquiring Tyler Toffoli in exchange for Tyler Pitlick, a prospect, and some picks. Calgary's looking dangerous. What do you see from them?
Very dangerous. So you said Colorado, as much as they're rolling right now, Calgary's, to me, that's the number one opponent, well, especially, division-wise for the Golden Knights. They're a good team. They're scoring at will right now. They're heavy, they're strong, they're physical, and they added Tyler Toffoli today as a trade from the Montreal Canadiens. Toffoli's 29-year-old. He won the Stanley Cup previously with the Kings in 2014. He's 4 20-goal campaigns. He scored 31 goals once. That was back a few years ago with the Kings. But last year he had 28 goals in 52 games with the Canadiens. A little not going as well for Montreal this year. He has 9 goals, in 20 or 37 games with them, 26 points. So it's an offensive player, another good piece for the Calgary Flames, and already very, very good team. So, yeah, the Flames are a team to watch, and I think because of their play, this is what general managers do. They bring in another good player to strengthen their lineup, and it's going to be a tough opponent going forward. I don't think the 6-0 loss is what we're going to always see, although that building has not been good to the Golden Knights, just as the Fortress has not been good for the Calgary Flames when they've been here. The teams have been very dominant in their home ranks against each other, so... the last game, let's flush that one. Let's
flush it.
Because it wasn't 1, 2, 3, 4 guys. It was just as you had a complete effort on a win. That was rare. You get a complete effort on a loss. There was just nobody engaged, ready to go whatsoever. But that happens, and hopefully they put an end to it. And some of that maybe embarrassment that they felt and anger, you can put it forth here on Wednesday against the Avalanche. That's the great thing about hockey is you can always look to that next game. That's the important
82-game season.
Yeah.
It's a beauty, isn't it? It's not like football.
You can't dwell on the losses.
It's not like football. Shane,
Yeah.
What did you think about the Super Bowl? Specifically, would love to hear any hot takes about the halftime show.
I love the halftime. I think it's one of the best. In my opinion, one of the best. Yeah, the best. I can go with that. I thought it was terrific. I thought, this whole playoff season, I'm a huge NFL fan. I love placing bets on it. That's I'm not big, but just little ones. It makes
You're
it
in
interesting.
Vegas.
So I obviously cheer on how that goes. So it was a good day for me.
I saw a tweet that I thought was funny, and I think you and Dave will think that I think it's funny.
Okay.
It was saying, I was watching the Super Bowl thinking, man, I'm so glad they aren't showing people like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and Paul McCartney that cater to old people. And then it hit me. That's how I was. Calling the 90s kids old, like we are
Cool.
now.
You guys are getting,
Now we're getting up there, Shane.
you're getting up there.
We're getting
Yeah,
up
you're
there. But
elevated
Dr. Dre,
age.
Snoop Dogg, Eminem, I was all about it. It's Valentine's Day. We plan on talking about that a little more than we did. For those listening on the radio, we have some flowers and a little gnome, I guess.
I was
Shane,
wondering what that was.
it's Valentine's Day theme. How are you, a Valentine's Day fan? You're tough on the outside, but you secretly,
It's another day. Every day's like that. No, I think it's a good day for everyone. But you know what? When we work, I'm not big. Like Christmas is my favorite holiday. That's the one I care about.
Original Shane.
That's the one I get excited for. Outside of that, because my whole life has been in hockey. Usually, you don't know whether you're playing or not, and
Right.
if the day's there, yeah, I'll take it and celebrate it. But it's usually game day or non-game day for me.
I thought this might be a good chance to just give some people some ideas. 5-game VGK ticket packs. That'd be a great Valentine's Day present. Some Foley family wines. That's the kind of present I
like
would
that.
want.
Yeah.
If anyone was really slacking this year and you really need to make up for something, a stay at Hotel Californian. So many
Another thing I want to do.
VGK things. Yes, on the list.
On the
If
list.
anyone's listening and you need it, the very last minute Valentine's Day plans, ideas, there you go.
Yeah,
But
the
Shane,
Hotel California would be good. That combines a nice stay, beautiful scenery, great
Exactly.
place, Santa Barbara, and wine.
exactly. That's my bet. That's what I'd be going for. All right, well, everyone, this was a jam-packed nighttime at noon. Thanks for joining, Shane. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks, Ashley.
All right,
Always
guys.
good.
Yeah, we'll see you next time, everyone.